About this opportunity to lead the university, or at that time the Polytechnic of Namibia, in 1994, and therefore I applied from there to for the position. I already was a professor of chemistry in the United States, and I thought this was a great opportunity for me to return home because I had been wanting to do so, but I couldn't find the right opportunity. Therefore, I was quite elated to return immediately upon the offer being made, and I've been there for quite a while. I believe we all need to respect one another. We all need to be respected, obviously. So respect is a key value for everyone. It doesn't matter what rank or what position you occupy. Respect is universal. Dedication is also something we need because we need to drive our vision. We all have a vision to get somewhere, so dedication is important. You need quite a bit of innovation in your life, so innovation is important, and that's tying to entrepreneurship because things change all the time, and your conditions are changing, and you must make the necessary adjustments. You obviously need to lead as a head of an institution, so you need to be innovative and entrepreneurial. You need to have a vision, obviously, as I said, that is important, and you need to be you need to have passion. Passion is also a very important value because we should not do things as if we are halfway there. We should do things as if we are all the way there. It's been a very interesting experience, I must say. 23 and a half years is a long time, and I've seen it all. We built a very decent and respectable institution. So through that process, I've seen a lot. I've experienced the good parts of life, the good things in life, and also the not so good things in life. The challenges were many, but we overcame nearly all of them. We still have to address the issue of human capacity in Namibia, obviously, and that's why we are building a university for that purpose. Enhancing it and so on. It's been fantastic, I must say, because this is a global experience. If you can lead a university in Namibia successfully, you obviously can lead a university anywhere else. Conditions permitting, obviously. It's been fun. That's the other part of my work that people thought it was all serious and it was all yes, it was, but I also had fun in that. I enjoyed every day of my work. I worked around the clock for 23 and a half years, and the results are showing, obviously. So I really enjoyed my life at NUST. I led the institution with a passion, and with a vision, and I'm very happy that it is standing strong as a result of that.
Biggest achievements?
Well, NUST has grown significantly from where it was, obviously. If you look at numbers alone, will tell you how we have grown from, say, 2,000 students in 1996 to 12,000, 2,500 this year. And it's not only the numbers, it's also many things that have changed. The mandate of the university has changed from being a polytechnic to being a university. The infrastructure has changed, obviously, because when the numbers are growing, the infrastructure must be able to accommodate that. The technology infrastructure that we have today did not exist then. The international networks that we have today did not exist then. The reputation we have today is not what we had then. So it has grown quite significantly. I remember the time where consulting on the NUST bill, in 2014, and several communities were concerned about their name change. And these were authentic concerns because they said, well, you have such a good reputation, what will happen when you change? Will you lose the reputation? We like your graduates, what will happen to your graduates? We said, well, we are building on that, so we are not diminishing anything by changing the mandate. We're enhancing the economy by tending to new things. So NAS has grown quite significantly, and we're very happy about that. Well, I believe a head of a university or any institution must have a few things working for him or her. The person has a vision, a very strong vision. That vision must be driven with passion. That person must be engaged in the processes. He must lead hands-on. That person must be connected to the industry, to other networks. That person must have work ethic that is exemplary. So these are things that have driven us to where we are. The dedication that you see from many people, it's what has resulted in us being what it is. NAS is a success story. NAS is the national treasure. It's a national heritage, because we all made sure that happens. We all contributed in many ways and in different ways to its success. My best moments at NAST, well, memorable. There are many, quite a lot. But let me just mention a few. Obviously, the first graduation, the first council meeting was memorable. It was the first time I met all the council members who I've not known before and so on. So it was quite memorable, and to start working with them, to get to know them, and so on. Obviously, our first graduation was memorable because we have come of age and we are now an independent and autonomous institution. So that was quite memorable in 1996. The moments where we introduced new qualifications, when we moved away from the diploma as the highest degree or highest qualification in the university to the bachelor's degree, to the master's degree, then PhD. These are memorable moments, and they are now graduates at every level of the institution. And that had to do with the NAST Polytechnic Act, allowing for any qualification being offered. So by the time we were renamed as NAST, those qualifications were already being offered. 4 years ago, 4 years and actually 2 weeks, we were at Parliament. I was sitting in the gallery with a colleague of mine, Tommy Bayer, who was then Senate representative to Council, hearing the tabling of the NAS Act, or the NAS Bill at the time. That was on the 17th and 18th and 19th of March 2015. Those were very memorable moments. On the third day, the 19th, the debate was less than 15 minutes, and then I knew that our job was done. It was quite memorable, a moment. Obviously, last year when we offered the first PhD at graduation, was a highlight of the university. Being ranked as one of the best universities in Africa is also a moment of joy for the university and for Namibia. There are many moments like these. And then of course there are light moments or light-hearted moments. Many colleagues of mine who are still around and many who are now no longer. We all shared joyful moments and also memorable chronicles of events that I would never forget in my life. the biggest lessons I've learned, or some of the lessons I've learned from this position, is that you got to believe in something, and you got to drive that something to its logical conclusion. And obviously, having proposed many new things, and obviously one of those being the renaming of the institution, ran against the beliefs of certain people who, for whatever reason, did not like that idea. Some people were conflicted, obviously, and others just were not comfortable with the new idea. So I learned to stay the course, focus on something and lead that something to its logical conclusion. I also learned that many people have, not everyone, but many people have more than one face. Others have more than two. So you agree on something and tomorrow they don't know about that, or conveniently forget about that, or when you're not there, they just talk about a different story. So I learned about that, and it's sad because that takes us back to where we come from. We need to go forward, but you're held back because people are two-faced or three-faced, and that's sad. The university is a very complex system. There are many role players within and outside the institution. There is strong political influence in Namibia. There is strong political influence into the university. To some extent, not very good for the autonomy and independence of the institution. So I've learned to try to separate those two things, that there is a demand that is reasonable, there is a demand that is not reasonable. A number of things we would have done differently. If Namibia had a large pool of skilled people, would have helped quite a bit to advance our development agenda. But there is still a huge gap in the market that we haven't filled. Some people, you would have done better background check before you employed them, because they have hidden agendas or they're just non-performers. As you know, they all come to tell you that they are wonderful, they can do great things and so on. The moment you employ them, they become your biggest problem. So there is that problem, and obviously the issue of resourcing. Regrettably, our dream was this big, but we couldn't get the resourcing right from the public sector and from the private sector to really create this gem that we wanted in Namibia. Not that we didn't create one, but it would be a different ballgame today if we had gotten the right resourcing or the right support we wanted and we needed. Was there a moment when I wanted to step down? No. There was never a moment that resulted in me thinking even that I should step down. There was a job to do, I had a mandate, I had a time frame, and I did that. So there was never a moment when I felt discouraged to the point where I would, or challenged even to the point where I would want to give up. My job was clear, and I went out to do that job. So, yeah. As I said, there were many challenges, obviously, and you had to deal with them in certain ways. You had to know how to leave your job at the office at times so you can rebalance your life. But then when it's time to work, you must work. And there is not a moment to think that you give up. Because we did right. What was the reason for us stepping down? Because somebody didn't want you there? Because they had an agenda? Is it the national agenda or is it the personal agenda? And many people have lots of agendas. Not for the sake of the university, but for their own sake.
What do you want the public to remember you for 50 years or so from now?
What would I like the public to remember me for in 50 years? 50 years is a very long time, and oftentimes we forget where we come from because there isn't enough documentation of who we are and where we come from. So we built a national treasure, a national heritage called NUST, and its reputation is now standing high. And I hope those who would follow will maintain that system, maintain that reputation. So in 50 years, we are not talking about we're not talking about something different, but we're talking about the same thing that is going forward, against strong winds. So I've done my bit. I've sacrificed a bit, and I would hope that I will be remembered for having transformed a polytechnic into a university, and that our record would be preserved for the future generations. I would give him or her the same advice that, from my experience, that he or she must have a vision, a clear and strong vision. He or she must have a passion. He or she must have a drive, must be engaged. He or she must have a strong work ethic. And he or she must be balanced as well, because it's a very complex job, it's a very demanding job. Being balanced means you must now listen to the stakeholders, but yet maintain the direction. You must consult because you can't do it in isolation, but you must drive that vision. People must know where they're going, and you must drive it with a passion. You must love what you're doing, and loving what you're doing without being fully engaged is also not good enough. So the engagement part and the work ethic part must complement your vision and passion. Can anybody do a job as good as I did? Well, no, we're all different. Even those who are very, very good or excellent who do it differently. But not everybody can do the job. And that's why the search process must make sure that we have the right candidate in place. If you're iffy or if you're doubtful about a candidate, don't employ. If the candidate doesn't stand out, doesn't excel from where they come, it doesn't project what I've spoken about as the vision, as the passion and so on, don't employ, because then you will drag the institution down. The leader is everything to the institution. He must maintain, he must lead. Not everybody can do the job. It is a very complex and very difficult job. What should Namibia do to benefit from the world of innovation and technology? But to start off, Namibia does not have an innovation framework or policy defining growth in Namibia. So that's the first point. We need a policy framework along which everyone can work in a network to create the necessary foundations for innovation and technology advancement. I'm not saying there isn't innovation happening in Namibia. There's quite a bit happening in many sectors. But as a whole, we need to be looking up to something. Namibia's parameters of growth must be defined in the innovation policy. And that's what we don't have at this point. So I have a passion to advance that. That's what we did quite a bit of at NUST. And I'm happy many innovations have come to fruition and many more are in the works. So we need a framework, we need a policy, and we need a reference point for everyone. We need a platform from where we can speak about. We need to frame the issues measure them, and deliver as far as possible.
If you had to advise government on how it can improve and embrace technology to have a better Namibia, what would you say?
How could government define that? Well, there are global parameters set. If you look at the World Economic Forum report, it would tell you where growth is measured, where innovation is measured, or how it is measured. The institutions, education, research, these are all parameters that are benchmarked against other countries in the world. So we have to take that, create, as I said earlier, the innovation framework, and see how we can match those who are performing higher than us. We have to see how we're moving from the lower ranking to the higher ranking level. It is important. So we need a policy, we need a framework. The framework is every sector must be engaged, and the engagement must be defined. The engagement must be resourced. The engagement must be measured, and then it must be benchmarked globally. Yes. My contract ended in September last year, and the council requested me to stay on. They extended it by 3 months to the end of the year, last year that is, and then they gave me another 6 months. My going earlier is again had to do with political interference. It's not my decision to leave earlier because I have made the commitment to serve until the end of that term. So it is not because I'm abandoning the institution. It's because of political pressures and dynamics that are resulting in what is happening at this point in time in the institution, which you would learn in the near future how the institution is being affected by such. Because at this point there isn't a substantive replacement, and leaving things in flux, leaving things in a situation like that really takes the institution back to where we come from, or even further than that. Well, I'm a Namibian. I will remain in Namibia. We engaged in a number of activities, personal and professional as well. At this moment, I'm taking it easy. I'm reflecting, and I'm engaging very soon. My closing remark would be thank you to all who have supported me for so long to create this gem, as I said, this national treasure, this national heritage. It wasn't a one-man show. Many people have contributed significantly to its growth. And here I'm talking about students, I'm talking about parents, I'm talking about government. Everyone contributed a piece of their own to the institution, financially and otherwise. So I want to thank everyone for having supported me to make this institution what it is today, to create a successful institution, to create an institution that is strongly ranked in Africa, that has a strong reputation, that has a bright future, all things being equal. I hope the future is brighter for NUST and for Namibia. I really want to thank you all for that. And I'm not only thanking those who are in Namibia, I'm thanking everyone. We have global networks. We have governments, foreign governments supporting our cause through research, through funding, and so on. To everyone, to every institution, organization, to every entity, to every community that has contributed to my success, to the success of NUST, I say thank you, thank you, thank you.